Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video it will be very special and I'll be doing PvP runs, and not really a tutorial but learning from my own runs and also helping new Battleforge players who want to learn PvP some mistakes that rookies made, like myself. So I'll be making a few videos from my previous rookie tournament run. And yes, I came in about the 7 or 8 place out of 50 players, and also technically because I think I have an advantage of playing Battleforge for a long time, so I know a little bit of the game mechanics. Yes, so I'll be trying to walk through what I did wrong or maybe what my opponents could do better, and let's learn from our rookie mistakes together. So for this video, it will be my first match, my first PvP game after a very long time. So the tournament rules will be the best of 3. There will be a total of 3 games until somebody wins twice. Yes, so this is the first match and the first round of the tournament, and let's dive straight into this video. So I'll be showcasing 1 match per video, which can be up to 3 rounds. Right, without further ado, let's begin this PvP learning journey. Alright, so I'll be playing with pure shadow deck, and I'll show my deck right here. And yes, I'll be starting off with the Witchclaw Defy Affinity. To me, there's no point on the Affinity because I won't use the ability, but if you do use it, then there might be a difference. So our opponent is a Frost start, the Light Blade. And for Frost, there's no tier 1 units that's Swift, so you want to really try to gain map control if you're using other factions, and try to gain more the ground control. And he summoned the Ice Barrier and I got my power. Why Light Blade isn't really a good card for this is because the counter is large, and I have my Forsaken to counter M, but the Frost Mage is a pain. That's why I would have the Nox Trooper to take down medium units. You must always try to summon units that counters the size of the unit. For example, like Blade is a medium unit and you want to use like Forsaken or Nox Trooper, which has a medium counter. Right, so currently I have a 1 power advantage, meaning that I have 4 power wells with me, and while he only have 3 power wells, which means that I'll gain power a little bit more quickly. And yes, I love the Overload, but the taunt really took my Nox Trooper off guard. Another thing to know is that attacking Frost doing like a Frost deck doing PvP at their home base is a bad idea, and you really need a whole bunch of units to attack their base because they have a lot of base buffs or like building buffs nearby, like Home Soil or like the Ice Guardian. So you want them to attack you first so that you can gain an advantage. So a little mistake here is that they all have my opponent has all M units, and I just have to use Nox Trooper to counter them, because none of them is, except for the Frost Sorceress, is an M counter. But Frost Sorceress damage is very low, so it doesn't really matter that much. As you can see, the Overload is very useful. As long as it locks the target at the start, you finish casting the skill unless my power does not allow it to do so. Let's slowly bring down the Ice Barrier. And yes, I have my Nox Trooper up. And it's a little bit of a mistake for him to get the second orb, as he'll be 150 powers lower, and all I have to do is to overwhelm him with units and try to bring down the tower. But of course, Nox Trooper isn't that great of a structure damage dealer, and he has the War Eagle, which is a problematic card. I also took off took out the Night Guard, which is a counter for the War Eagle. So it doesn't look good for me. Alright. I realized that it's time for me to get my tier 2 defenders. Let's speed up a little bit. So what I need now is to kill off the defenders, and I have my Dark Elf Assassins and X counter, which will be targeting the defenders. As you can see, a mistake here is that the War Eagle, he should have tried to cone both of my Dark Elf Assassins and damage them. And the good counter for the War Eagles will be the Shadow Mages, as they can deal a really large amount of damage. But of course, an experienced player can easily take down the Shadow Mages if they use the War Eagle's War Cry. And War Eagle has the M counters, which is quite deadly to Shadow Mages. Yes, another mistake over here is that he should have waited a while longer and freeze my Dark Elf Assassins together with my Shadow Mages. Yes, but the Cannon Tower is a really good defense tower because it will knock back my Dark Elf Assassins, and my Shadow Mages cannot attack with low health. So it's a mistake from me would be to send my Shadow Mages out of the base because they cannot heal themselves. Or rather, I would have to use the ability for them to gain back health. So in this case, the best strategy for me would be to retreat. But having used the ability of the Dark Elf Assassins, they cannot move for about 10 seconds after I use the ability. They have a lot of Storm Singer, so which means that I should use the Forsaken to counter them because their Storm Singers is an M counter. I honestly don't know why he summons so many Storm Singers. Like why? And he's moving all of them once to like somewhere below to counter attack me. No idea what he's doing. So I got a power well here, and I think he's gonna counter attack my power, but it's really a very long walk and I don't think it's a good idea. I have Shadow Mages because they knock back units, and yes, that was a quite good freeze there. And for the Nightcrawler, you're going to use the Frenzy as can really do a lot of damage. And of course over here I should have summoned my Forsaken, and another rookie mistake I forgot because I was too focused on my tier 2 units. And the mistake here is also that I stopped my units from attacking. I forgot that the Knight of Chaos wasn't the purple affinity where they will start attacking each other. So that is a mistake on my part. Yeah, so Nightcrawlers are really very good at counter, and I really like to use it with the Frenzy, but I didn't see any point because they are already dying. Yeah. Summon the Lyrish Knight, and the problem with Lyrish Knight is that it needs a building to be very effective. I think he's gonna summon the Ice Barrier. Yep, he is. And I don't know why he's using Lyrish Knight as is an XL counter, which isn't very useful in this scenario. It's useful when I summon Harvester, where it can deal really a lot of damage. So just take down the Ice Barrier. Yes, my Harvester is up, and yes, it will be a really good counter, but I have Life Weaving with Harvester, which means that it is practically almost invincible. Let's As you can see, the damage by the Lavish Knight is really enormous. And yes, with the life weaving, damage is insignificant to my Harvester. And yes, of course, you must always aim the Monument or the Power Well first to take down, or to make sure that they are down with the power, because they will not get any void power funds if you take down their Monument and all their power. So I managed to get 150 power hit start for this, and I also have more power wells than him, so I'm already on the power advantage as well. So in this case, because he has the Frost Mage, I have to summon either Shadow Mage or a Night Guard to counter. Yep, look at the damage by the Shadow Mage is really huge. Going back to the base to heal. And my Harvester again, make sure that I take down the Monument before it gets up. Fast forward here. Yes, all the Lavish Knights to counter my Harvester, but Life Weaving and Unholy Power makes it really good. And of course, I can use the ability. Skeleton Warriors have M counter, which can take down the Lavish Knight really quickly. I think he was smart in a way that he went to avoid my Skeleton Warriors, but I think he shouldn't rush to my area. He should at least fall back. At this point, the match is probably settled, and I already have a huge power advantage, and he's down to tier 1. I think this is the end of the game, and let's just fast forward it to the end. Alright, this was our first game, and let's see our next round. How would I do? Okay, so this is our second match in our first round, and let's see if he has adapted to or has improved on his strategy from his first loss. As usual, first summon my Witch Claws and go to the middle, and he has his Light Blade as usual. Usually people don't use Light Blade at the start because it costs 75 power. Usually people will start with the Master Archers. Yeah. Yes, I also got my power in the middle. The middle has 4 power, so it's better to get it at the start. But the problem is that he could leverage the high grounds and summon the tower to attack my power well. But again, this is the rookie tournament and anything goes, right? Smart in a way that he used the Ice Barrier to gain ground presence to summon the power well, but this will make him have a 20 power disadvantage. Yeah, my Nox Trooper to take down the Light Blade. There's 3 power wells, and I have 3 power wells as well. Frost Sorcerers. Nothing to note is that you don't really see Frost Sorcerers very often in PvP. And of course, Light Blade at the start is not very common as well. Yep, the Overload is really amazing. Can like one-shot the Frost Sorcerers or the Frost Mage, or maybe slightly a few more normal attacks would do it. Oh, finally the Ice Guardian, a natural counter to Nox Trooper. In this case, I will have to retreat because I will be at a disadvantage, which is what I'm doing now. But I'm a rookie, so I was like, just let them die. But I realized it wasn't a good choice. And his mistake was to bring his Ice Guardians out of his base. as their shields will slowly deplete. And I have my Forsaken to counter all the enemies, and of course he came up with the Frost Mages to counter my Forsaken. Of course, knowing that I will summon back Nox Trooper to kill them off. Yeah. Another few Ice Guardians. I have to take down the Ice Barrier to make sure that the Ice Shields will be depleted slowly, as shown. And yes, my Forsakens with the Frenzy. The point of Shadow units to me is to sacrifice them, but make sure that the risk is worth sacrificing. But in this case, I think it is worth it. My Nox Trooper to kill off the Frost Mage. Alright. It's one power well, so will I try to match the power well, or will I just... Yes, I think it's a mistake for him to take the power. Now he's 100 power below me, and all I have to do is to clear his units and take down his power well. I think a mistake is that he didn't micromanage well. He should have followed my Witchclaws as my Witchclaws has Swift. Yes, he should have summoned the Frost Mage before the Ice Guardian to knock back my Forsakens. But at this point, he's already at a huge disadvantage with my army and one power well more. It should take about 3 minutes for him to gain back the power. So looking at this, it really doesn't look good for him. But he's really smart to target my Nox Trooper because his Ice Guardian has an M counter, so I would give him that. Oh yep, one overload and a few normal hits will take down the Frost Mage. As you can see, 2 of his power wells are going down, and if they are going down, which almost guarantees my victory, all I have to do is summon M counters because all his Frost units so far are M. I have no idea why he does not have the Master Archers. It can be useful to counter my Forsakens. I'm taking down the Ice Guardians. And yep, Frost Mage to knock back a lot of my Forsakens both. But I still have my Nox Trooper. He is adapting well with summoning more Frost Mage for my Forsakens. So that is a really good attempt. Yep, I've expanded my units to have my Nox Trooper there, and yes, smart to counter my Nox Trooper, but he should have used his Frost Mage to attack my Forsaken.
At your command.
At this point, he's really at a great disadvantage as I have 6 power wells, 4 in the middle, and I'm already at tier 2. My first tier 2 unit is the Nightcrawlers. It's more effective than my Nox Trooper. Lightblade? It's really a mistake to summon Lightblade because it's the L and there's not much to taunt because it's a small army. You would only want to taunt like one huge XL unit. So as you can see, with a couple of his plays you know that it wasn't done as well. Yes, so yep, this is my first round with 2 matches, and I hope this PvP rookie tournament really showed some light into some ways that you can have an advantage in PvP battles. Taking note of the counters, the size counters. So that's it for my video, and I hope you guys enjoy this. And I'm not a professional PvP player, but I hope this will allow you to understand some really basics, even that will apply in PvE modes as well.